Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. Let's talk about Survivor 48, episode 12.
We are on a different night.
Yeah, that's right.
But we're still having fun.
It just happened, East Coast. It hasn't even aired in the West Coast yet.
Oh, no. Sorry about you West Coasters. We're going to talk about it right now because it's a busy week and we have things to do. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/nerdtainment. Little as $1 over there. You know, I almost said, and I'm David. Let's talk about Sarah, episode 12. There was like, if you go back, I think there was a slight pause there where I was like, what is the S word I'm going for here?
It start with an S. Yeah. It's usually Survivor, though, David.
Yes.
Yes. Well, we're going to start this episode with Eva being like, that was it. Didn't have to use that safety without power advantage. I got.
Still got my idol. Look, I could have used it. It was my last opportunity, but it was more important that I was there for my team, there for my crew.
But you know what? Joe was paranoid last week. Thought he might be like the fallback.
Yep.
Why didn't she give it to him?
Fair.
This whole like, I didn't even have to use it. I don't know.
Huh, that's fair. Yeah, she had a quick fix when Mary was like, I'm going to vote you out, Joe. Eva could have been like, no, she's not. I'm giving you the safety without power.
Yeah. But we didn't even see that in the edit. It didn't even seem to come up. I don't know if she was hoarding it for herself only or if he wasn't really that paranoid. Maybe that was just edit.
Right.
But anyway, she's like, look, it was the last chance, didn't use it. And it's really just cut and dry from here on out.
I'm sitting pretty.
Yep.
And Mitch is like, well, it's the final 6 and I'm ready to make a move now. And I'm like, Mitch, don't hear it. And meanwhile, the strong 4 are like, we want Mitch gone. And that is fully what I'm expecting in this episode. I'm like, at this point, this 4 is so stuck in their alliance that Mitch is next, Camilla after that, and then we'll see. But I really believed going into this episode that this was going to be a rare sort of core alliance that when they said, we'll get to Final 4 and then we'll figure it out, they meant it.
Yeah.
I thought they meant it.
Yeah, no, and I honestly, we've been here before hoping for something to happen. And I was like, look, it's Mitch's time. He thought that he was playing some other game. And if it's his time, it's his time. I wasn't going to feel bad about it.
Me neither, because for the past 2 episodes, we've watched people come to Mitch with opportunities to flip the game on its head. And he didn't take them. He said, now's my chance. What are you talking about? There are 4 people and then you and Camilla.
Yeah.
And everybody has to know it at this point. We don't need to belabor that, but I'm just sort of like, you're late to the party.
Late to the party. Shaheen's going to be mad if this challenge is another arm challenge.
They get that tree mail and it's like, you're going to fight and you're going to hang and you're going to do. Everybody thinks it's what it is. Like they're predicting that it is this like slide challenge where they have to hold on. And he's like, can I please get a challenge with my beefy man thighs?
Apparently, he's worked really hard on those legs, and he would like to work them.
He's sick of the grip strength.
He's not going to get his. He's not really going to get his wish, but it's still going to work out okay for him.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch is going to talk to Shaheen. Basically,
like,
this is the time. This is the time to get Joe out, and we're like, we've been at the time, Mitch.
Exactly, and Camilla's like, I want to go after Joe. We can't let Joe and Eva decide everything. And again, I'm just like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We're all going to vote Mitch out.
I liked the way she phrased it because she was like, Kyle and Shaheen are playing a game of chicken.
Yeah. Which one of them is going to flip first?
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, that's exactly what they're doing. That's a good way to put it.
Very good way of putting it.
So let's play reward.
Let's play reward, which is Sanctuary plus an overnight.
Sanctuary. Where good things
happen.
You say it. I was waiting for you.
Yeah, thank you. And also letters.
Yes.
That's one of the good things that happens at Sanctuary. You get to read a letter from a loved one. It is, Sarah, let me have it at the beginning of the segment because I was like, I've never seen weather like this ever. And Sarah was like, you say that all the time. And we have literally seen people evacuated on Survivor. And I was like, that was 15 seasons ago.
David, it's one of those little charming things about you. That when something is big, he's like, we've never seen this. Never. We love it about you. Anyway, the horrible weather. David's never seen this on Survivor before.
Never in my life.
It did look really, really bad.
It was really bad. Almost like the worst you'd ever seen.
Almost like you've never seen it before.
Jeff does like a quick little interview where Shaheen's down to give him a soundbite, and then Jeff's like, should we get this started? And everyone's like, please stop talking.
We not be out here in this weather?
Yeah.
We've seen this not that often. This is fairly new, right?
I would say it's borderline new era classic.
Is it a new era classic?
It's borderline. I will give this one
thing
that.
We've seen before. They're gonna lay on like a slight incline, move their way down, smaller handholds. It seems not that hard though. Like I've never done it, but they make it down. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, fair. Everybody makes it to the final rung. Yeah.
So it can't be that hard.
Well, and what we talked about as we were watching it, because the reason we're here tonight is because we watched this episode together, which is, as you know, one of my favorite things to do. We were talking about sort of like Eva and Shaheen's use of the flexibility in their legs, where their like heels are right up against their butts. And that, I think, allows them to really use the strength in their legs.
Yeah.
Like we all know legs are stronger than arms.
Yeah.
So they're using their legs for a lot of it. And I didn't see it from everybody else. Like other people seem to have their legs a little further out. But regardless, like you said, everybody's making it to the final rung. At which point Jeff is like, cut it out, legs straight.
Legs straight.
This is an upper body challenge, and it's really about the shoulders.
Sorry, Shaheen, it's an upper body challenge, but
by the way, let's not forget Shaheen's cystic whatever that he has in his wrist.
Did we know about this?
Ganglion cyst or something?
I have never seen a wrist cyst on Survivor before.
Never in my life.
Never.
This is
have we seen a wrist
the
cyst?
Craziest injury I've ever seen on Survivor.
Be careful what the spit takes there, David.
Sorry. Sarah's like, remember when Bruce smacked his head on the wood and had to be removed from the game? And I'm like, no, the cyst is the worst of all time.
We've never had one. I don't even know what it is. Didn't know Shaheen had it. I don't know if we've heard about this already. But anyway, he's going to complain about it. But everyone else is going to fall.
That's just his story.
And
they're setting us up for Shaheen's ultimate win here. Because they needed, I guess it turns out they needed to give Shaheen a moment before he left the show. But he wins the challenge. He gets a great dive into the ocean. And he's got to pick 2 people to go on the reward with him.
Now, okay, let's take a poll here.
Okay.
Look, I know that Joe does not need to be fueled, but he has kids. He talks about being a dad all the time.
I'm not shocked at all.
You have to pick him for letters, right?
I'm not shocked at all.
But take a poll. Would you guys pick him for letters? Or do you say starve the man?
Gosh.
I mean, especially you'd pick him, and I think
I'd pick him.
Shaheen has been his closest ally. Like, it's just not going to be. It's going to force you're picking Joe.
Yeah.
And
then he picks Kyle because Kyle's about to get married, so he brings Kyle.
And this seems like a nice thing he's doing, but of course, people who aren't picked are going to be mad.
I thought he was going to pick Eva because Eva gets picked for every reward. But Sarah was like, she's fed.
She's fed.
Yeah.
As much as I love Eva.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to go on this.
Yeah. So those 3 go to Sanctuary, and it's very quick with the food. Like, they don't dwell on that. We're going to get right to the letters. And Shaheen is tearing up before he even opens the letter. He's like been waiting for this letter from his mom.
Yeah.
But really, this whole thing is about Joe.
Yeah.
And his letter from his son and the drawing.
God, so cute. The little drawings.
And I don't really know how the sister thing came up, but I guess they're just like in a vulnerable moment.
Yeah.
And they're just sharing. And Joe tells a really heartbreaking story about losing his sister to domestic violence and how he didn't get to say he loves her on the phone. It was like, just again, like the hero edit for Joe. It's like,
I think we knew that Joe lost his sister. I think it's also come up that he had lost his father. And they're talking about, Kyle gets a letter from his dad. The other 2 have lost their father. So we're talking about family and missing family members.
Yeah.
But this, I think, is the first time that we hear that he had a fight with his sister the night before she died.
Yeah, that was tough to hear.
And the last thing you say to someone
are like hurtful words.
a fight and then she dies. Oh my Lord. That is going to be hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I honestly do think that kind of like illuminates a lot about Joe's character for me. And I wonder if there's some sort of like, if that plays into his relationship with Eva kind of thing. Of course. Your real life always bleeds into the way you play Survivor.
He's a firefighter, so he feels a need to like
save people.
And he has this issue that he wasn't able to save his sister. The man would like to save you.
Yeah, right,
so
exactly.
He will save Eva.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we go back to camp. Mitch is all out of sorts. Why would you feed the most competitive person in this game? And are you just handing Joe $1 million? And I'm like, again, I'm just sort of like, I got no time for this. Like,
wait, who? This is over at the losers camp?
Yeah, the losers.
Yeah, Mitch is like, how could Shaheen have even done this? And I'm like, are you even kidding me right now?
Do you understand? They're all in an alliance together.
Moving back to the sanctuary. They'll go through letters. And this is when I guess they go off to the bathroom or whatever.
Seems like Kyle's gone to do a number 2.
Okay, Kyle wants to do a number 2. And Shaheen and Joe are going to take this moment to talk.
It's a very interesting conversation because they don't think Kyle's a threat, which I think is interesting.
They don't see it.
And they also reveal, I don't know that I knew this, but that Joe, Eva, Shaheen is the final 3.
Right.
It's interesting that they would like say those 2 things back to back.
Yeah.
Like if Kyle's not a threat, why wouldn't he be in the final 3? But I guess they are playing with this mindset of we want the best in the final 3.
That is not Joe's plan.
Yeah.
Those 3 were on Original Tribe together.
Yeah.
Joe, Shaheen, and Eva. So they are their final 3 in their head, just that loyalty game, even though Kyle in their mind is not a threat.
Yep.
But when Kyle comes back and Joe goes to do a number 2, Shaheen is going to do a different pitch to Kyle.
Well, and it's a different audience who's receiving a pitch here. I will say before Joe went to go number 2, Shaheen was kind of trying to, I don't even know what he said, but he said something and Joe was kind of giving him some side eye.
Right.
And he was like, I'm just trying to talk out loud. And Joe was kind of like, why do you need to talk out loud? We just had the conversation.
Right. Because Shaheen is like, let's talk options. And Joe's like, literally no options other than what I just said.
There's one way to the final 3.
Get rid of those people. Boom,
We're
boom,
going to get
boom.
Mitch out, and then it's going to be Camilla, and then it's going to be Kyle.
Yeah.
So, obviously Shaheen's thinking a little more strategically.
Trying.
And he's going to Kyle, but I love this reminder from Kyle of, I have been suspicious of Shaheen ever since he went through my bag.
Right? Let us not forget.
Yeah. So he's a little side-eye as well when Shaheen is pitching him something. But he's loving this information that Shaheen is giving him.
Right.
He's saying, let's not give it to Joe. Like, what am I going to do? Let the firemen make fire? Is that a joke? And Kyle's like, but Joe's our shield. And Shaheen's like, well, okay, maybe we get rid of Eva. And Kyle's like, I was hoping you'd say that.
Yes, please.
I'm going to use this against you.
Tell me more. Yeah, Shaheen's like, look. Joe goes to the jury, it goes one way. We send Eva to the jury, it goes a different way. And I didn't hate this pitch.
No, it's a good pitch.
From Shaheen, but it is definitely Shaheen saying, I would like to make this move potentially. But he's also like, and you would just have to trust me. And that just sounds suspicious. When someone says,
he's like, it's the ultimate trust play.
Yeah. I'm like, you lost me right there.
Yeah. But Kyle is like, I love this. Not because I want to go with you.
No.
Not because I want to break up Joe and Eva. Because guess what? I don't want to make your move.
No.
But I do want to make the move you're trying to make work against you.
Yeah. And that's a very, I just like that way of thinking, right?
Yeah. He's basically just been sitting, waiting for something. And now he's like, you handed it to me.
Yeah,
you flipped first.
He one-ups the strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm not making your move. Watch this. So we go back to the group the next day, right? They get to sleep, apparently.
They do. Yeah, they're like walking up to the beach as Eva and Mitch and Camilla are waiting for them the next morning.
Yeah.
They do their little pleasantries, and Kyle's like, it's work time.
Oh, yeah.
I need to talk to my number one.
Ready to go. He like runs down and chases Camilla and is like, hey, I got to play.
He's like, look, Shaheen's ready to flip. And she's like, oh my God, this is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Every single confessional that we have gotten all season about the two of them keeping their alliance secret, this is the moment where they're going to make good on that promise of this meaning something. And Kyle's like, here's the plan, Camilla. I'm going to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And say that Shaheen wanted to go after Joe and Eva. You're going to lie and say that he showed you an idol.
Diabolical. What? If someone said that to me, I'd be like, well, let's dial back my lie. Just a smidge here.
Why am I the liar?
A whole lie? A complete made up lie. But no, Camilla's like, I love it.
She's like, I would what was interesting to me was like, I actually think Camilla's a really smart cookie. And so when we get this confessional from her being like, this is incredible. I would never have thought of this. If that ever comes out of my mouth on Survivor, I am targeting that person. If somebody thinks of something more diabolical than what this villain brain can cook up,
yeah,
you are a threat to my game.
Yeah, no, she's so excited that her boy just came to her with this plan and she is on board. She wants to lie up a storm and do all of her shenanigans. It's like back to their original shenanigans, where they played the idol. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun here.
A little bit of fun, but first we get like I think a really beautiful segment where Joe is like sitting in the shelter.
Oh my god!
And he's like, "It's time, let's do this." And I'm like, "What is he talking about?"
I was like, "Is he about to self-evict?"
That's literally what I thought.
I was like, "Is he leaving?"
Yes. And no, he's going to the beach to like have his sort of closure conversation with his sister, where he's saying like, I've never felt closer to you than out here, and I'm sorry that I couldn't protect you. And it's just such a poignant emotional moment.
Y'all, there is a camera right here.
Literally.
Like he knows, and I think that's why he's like covering his face with his buff so much. But like
I've never seen someone wipe tears away so much. He does not want to cry on camera.
Yeah.
But it's a tough moment for him, and it's a really beautiful thing to watch.
It was beautiful. And I hope that he really was able to get closure because,
I know.
Babe, it's okay.
Yeah.
We got to move on.
Yeah.
Can't carry that forever.
But like really nice for him to get that moment.
Yeah.
And then we're going to play immunity.
Okay, let's play immunity.
Now we are.
Who do we think might possibly win immunity?
Who could it be?
Who could it be? We're going to be correct.
Yeah.
This was like a long thing.
That barrel thing?
We're gonna like do a thing. We're gonna do a thing. The barrel thing was amazing.
Was so fun. Such a new addition to Survivor. Then they crawl under this net that's like weighed down with sandbags, and then they do that snake trap thing. Jeff kept calling it a trap. Because I guess it's not technically like a maze or
feels like a maze.
A puzzle. It does feel like a maze. He kept calling it a trap. Okay. So anyway, Eva can't even hit the platform with the rope.
Oh, she takes forever
to start.
First part.
Yeah.
Joe's going to do the immediate lead. He's like, hits it immediately and off he goes.
But guess what? Shaheen got to use those meaty man thighs.
Did y'all see his legs on the barrels? Man got to show off those legs. He did it.
He did. So he's through the barrel thing first.
He's got like circus genes.
Yeah.
Like his
truly.
ancestors
were
rodeo clowns.
Doing something.
Yeah.
Mitch got so close to finishing the barrel thing, but like took a jump off and had to like go back.
I don't know. I feel like he was there, Jeff. Like he was right there.
It just wasn't, the barrel wasn't touching the bag, you know? So Shaheen's under the net first, then Joe, then Kyle. Those three are in the lead, and that's kind of how it is the entire time, because then they get through the net and they're to the snake trap first.
Okay.
Joe lands the first ball, kind of lickety split, no problem. Then Eva's finally made her way through the rope, and she very quickly makes her way through the barrel in the net, and she's kind of caught up. So then Kyle and Eva both land a ball.
Yeah.
But Joe just has a commanding lead the entire time.
Yeah. Camilla is stuck on those barrels for a long time.
And then she was there every time they were showing the snake trap. I was looking at Camilla crawling through the net in the background.
She's trying to get through that net.
She is so stuck under that net.
When we finally get the winner she like collapses under the net.
Oh my God.
She's
like, she like had just peeked her head through when Joe wins immunity. 4th immunity. He's one away from what? Tying the record, breaking the record. I don't know. Some sort of survivor.
He's got the record. Yeah.
It's the most immunity wins we've ever seen.
We've never seen anyone win this much.
Jeff's like, 4th immunity win. And Mitch is rolling his eyes over it.
Sorry, Mitch. You had your time.
You missed your chance because guess what? Last week, Joe didn't have immunity.
Too late.
Okay.
Sorry, not sorry.
So then we're going to go to camp. Joe's got his necklace on. And Kyle's like, I wish Joe wasn't wearing that necklace because I'd like him to be a little more unsettled.
More paranoid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And feel a little less secure in his position, but it's now or never.
Right. And he's like, I got to do the work no matter what. So here we are. So he's rolling up his sleeves and he's like, Joe, Shaheen flipped.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Not a lie. He says, Shaheen talked to me. Wants you or Eva out. And then I talked to Camilla. She told me this.
False. Okay. Again, I'm like, the way that he set this up is so brilliant. Because if it comes back to bite him, he has one layer of protection. Yes. It would mean he has to flip on his number 1, which I'm sure he doesn't want to do. But like, good for you for setting yourself up for that.
Yes.
You could be like, well, Camilla told me that.
Yeah. I mean, unless Kyle's not at final 3 and Camilla gets to tell the story by herself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to give credit to
Kyle's
Kyle.
move. This is Kyle's move.
Yeah.
And Joe,
he's like,
he's like,
don't know.
Okay.
Don't know.
Thank you for this. But I'm considering the source.
Yeah.
And what I like is that he's like, he's slowing it down. He's like, wait. Sorry. My brain moves slow.
Yeah.
So walk me through it again.
Yep.
And I think the strategy here is keep Kyle talking so you can really get a sense of his energy, whether you think he's lying.
Yeah.
Is he making eye contact? Like all those kind of body language things. And Joe acknowledges to us in confessional that he's like reading all of these signs.
Yeah. Got to get those details, right? Be like, can I trip him up? Is he telling the truth?
And when I get all these details from you, I have to ask myself, why are you giving me these details?
Yeah.
He's very level-headed about it.
Yes. Probably because he won and he's not like jumping to paranoia, I guess was the point that
True.
Kyle was
making. A little more secure. He's not going to scramble as much because he's like, well, I can't go home this vote.
Yeah.
So he's like, give me 30 minutes, Kyle. Yeah. I got to go talk to Eva, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Which he does.
He takes it to Eva. And Eva, she's like, well, I don't know. I don't know who somebody's lying to.
I mean, I feel better about Kyle than Shaheen, if I'm being honest, if I had to pick.
All right.
And Joe's like, all right. I hear you. I'm going to go talk to Camilla.
Right. Here's my next step. And of course, he goes to Camilla, and Camilla was like, yeah. He opened a bag, showed me some beads.
Yeah.
Told me not to worry.
What I loved about Camilla's demeanor here is that her acting is coming from a place of I'm telling the truth. Because if she had taken a tone of like, no, I swear, he showed me beads.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You're lying.
Yeah.
But for her to be like, yeah, he opened his bag and he showed me beads. Like you have to say it so confidently, like it actually happened.
I think because she gets to come from the underdog place of like, doesn't really bother me if you don't believe me. Yeah. Like I'm not really worried about it. Like you guys might vote me out, you know, like I don't have any power here.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you.
I'm just telling you, showed me beads. So do with that what you will.
Yeah. This is the thing though. There was zero truth in her lie.
Right.
Like
there was 50% truth in Kyle's lie.
Yeah, exactly.
0% truth in Camilla's lie.
But she owned it.
And she owned it. She was like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
What do I care? So then Joe, they're like, and Joe approaches Shaheen.
The music behind this conversation.
Literally mob boss music.
Godfather music for sure. And Joe is just like rattling Shaheen because clearly like whatever Shaheen says, Joe doesn't buy, right? He's like, well, I mean, if you say so. I mean, but
and Shaheen's like,
what?
what are you talking? Are we good?
Yeah.
And Joe's like, I don't know. Are we good?
What? This is definitely throwing Shaheen off. He's annoyed now.
He's pissed.
He's going to talk to everybody about
he
it.
Literally, he cycled through one-on-ones where he's like, the way Joe approached me, like he will tell anybody who's listened. And I sort of had a thought of why did Kyle and Camilla really need to do all of this? Like, couldn't they just go with Mitch? But then I was like, no, we're at final 6.
Well,
it
sure,
would be 3-3.
They could go with Mitch. That would be dumb. And boring.
Yeah.
But I think the way they were talking about it is like, this is how we show them that we actually did have power.
The jury.
Yeah. You all think Joe and Eva were running things.
We fooled them.
We totally sowed seeds of doubt.
Yeah.
And made this tight alliance break up.
Yeah.
Because of what we concocted. And I mean, we're not to the votes yet, but thinking that Shaheen goes out leaves the power duo.
Yeah.
But conceivably, you scoop up Mitch and you've got 3 versus 2.
Exactly.
Even though one of these power duos has an idol.
And I actually think like the lie is an important part of the significance of this move. Because if they had just left it at Shaheen is like coming after you guys, he pitched flipping.
Yeah.
That could be perceived as in the jury, like, well, y'all just like played into Joe's hand yet again.
Yeah.
As soon as someone was coming for Joe, you told him and you allowed him to get that guy out. But what they can now say is, yeah, but we fooled him into thinking that Shaheen had an idol. And so now we sort of have the strategic upper hand.
Which they also think would keep Joe from being like, wait, you coming for me?
Yeah.
Because Shaheen had an idol, I guess. But yes, I agree. I think making the plan bigger than it needed to be does show that they are like running this.
Yeah.
And they did.
They did. So we're going to go to tribal.
Yes.
Eva, she starts it off like, I'm still good with my crew.
Yeah,
and I thought like, oh Lord, here we go. Mitch is going to go home. And then Jeff is like, Shaheen, idols. Da, 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 da. I'm like, hope he asked everybody in the tribal council about this because like it seemed very targeted. And Joe takes a good long look at Shaheen
my God.
while he's answering this question.
The fun the editors had
with
this tribal, because honestly, they weren't giving us the edit that it was going to be Mitch.
No.
Like we really were building up to a Shaheen vote out. So I feel like it was somewhat going that way.
Yeah.
And so they had to have fun with the edit. And boy, did they.
And again, the love that they are giving to Joe in the edit of this show, episode after episode, where Kyle's like, yeah, you know, idols are like always a concern and advantages. And
while Joe's eyes are like.
And then Jeff's like, and Shaheen. And Joe's like. And they literally just mute what Kyle and Shaheen are talking about, which I didn't fully mind because often at tribal council, they're just saying a lot about nothing.
Yes.
But I'm just like, this is hilarious that they are acting like this entire decision is in the hands of Joe and what is Joe going to do?
But as they were voting, David was like, wait, if Joe switched and was like,
and was going to vote Kyle,
take Kyle out, who's he going to tell?
I was like, Joe does not play Survivor like, oh, I'm going to flip it tribe. You know what? I haven't made up my mind. I'm going to hear Kyle and Shaheen out at tribal and then I'll make my decision. No.
Nope.
Joe is going to get the information he needs and go into tribal with a plan.
Yeah.
So I had no belief that Joe was ultimately going to vote for Kyle.
Right.
For me, it was Mitch or Shaheen.
Right. Yeah. Because if he had flipped to Kyle, he would have had to have already done that.
Yeah. He would have had to get Eva on board with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we don't see any votes.
Nope.
No advantages or idols. The tally is Shaheen first.
Yep.
And then Mitch. I was actually surprised that there were 2 Mitch votes.
Yeah, the Shaheen Mitch we know is coming. But then a second Mitch, you're like, okay, well, just in case Shaheen did play an idol, let's not have some funky thing happen.
Sure.
We got 2 votes on Mitch.
Sure. And then Shaheen.
But Shaheen's like, Then he stands up and he's like, if not one of you stands up to hug me, I'm going to be pissed.
I loved that.
Yeah.
What a good sport. And like, he's obviously so loved by this cast.
Yes.
Like, he walks out, he's doing the waka waka, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, thank God that's the last time I have to hear that this season. But he was such a charismatic, likable guy, very popular this season, I think, among the castaways. A bummer to see him go, but
I'm sure Joe is very upset to find out he had been played.
No, I don't.
And that Shaheen was.
But couldn't you also be like
turning on him?
I think you could easily be like, oh, we fooled him. Like he didn't suspect it, so he left with an idol in his pocket.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean later to find out. Yeah. In the moment, Joe, I'm sure, is like, haha, I got you before you got me.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, later, Joe had to find out at some point that Kyle played him.
Yeah.
And then maybe this is the first time he has seen that conversation between Kyle and Shaheen, where Shaheen does say, let's take out Eva.
It was true. Shaheen was coming for them.
Yeah, it's not completely untrue here. David, did you see David's face on the jury?
He's like, every last person I liked is getting voted out.
He was like, the group went against themselves. They voted out Shaheen. Oh my God. Yes, David, they're playing Survivor.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we finally saw the group break up. I know that it's probably not the path I think everyone would have rathered, not everyone, but a lot of people would have rathered vote out the power duo, right? One of them.
Yeah.
But I do feel like this is still a valid play.
I agree. The four have finally gone against each other.
Yes.
Kyle is now with, well, it's funny that Camilla was the other Mitch vote. Because I want to say like Kyle can now be with Camilla and Mitch, but I don't know what was going on there exactly.
Maybe
Camilla was trying to frame somebody else.
Maybe they're going to frame someone, but also she could just be protecting herself of like, I'm not with Kyle. I didn't know for sure which way it was going. So I went with Mitch just to be safe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's her way of playing.
Maybe.
That she wasn't fully clued in.
Yeah.
But she was clued in. So.
She was. She was in charge of this. So I don't know. I'm like, as much as I'm like, oh, Joe and Eva, while they're marching to the final three, I actually think like this may be the beginning of Kyle's surge in the end. Like this is Kyle's move. I think we agree on that.
Yeah.
And I don't know who, I mean, we'll have to see how the finale plays out and what other people can get some moves in the end game.
This is it, y'all. This is our final 5.
Yeah.
They are moving into the end game. That is the only episode left is our finale. Someone will have to go to fire. Eva still has her idol. She has one more tribal, I believe, to play it, right? I believe it's 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, she's going to play it. And if she wins, she'll play it on Joe.
Yep.
So that's still them in the finals.
Yep.
So she's at least making the final 4.
Final 4.
And maybe both of them, even if they think.
Sarah.
What?
Joe and Eva are going to make fire against each other.
I would love to see it.
That's what's going to happen.
No, that's
what we're building toward.
Are you kidding?
That's what we are building toward.
How would that happen? That means
Kyle's going to win immunity at 4, and he's going to bring Camilla. And Joe and Eva are going to have to go to fire together.
You think Mitch is out at that point?
Yeah, I think Mitch is going to go next. And I think what Joe is going to do is he's going to douse his fire with water, and he's going to go over to Eva's table, and he's going to help her build fire to send her to the finals. That's my prediction, everybody. Come back to this video after the finale. See if I'm right.
Don't put Joe in fire, please. Don't put Joe in fire.
Or honestly, Camilla could win immunity at Final 4. Because remember, it's often that like ball thing where you're like getting 4 balls on the track kind of a thing. She could win that.
She could win that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at the astrology. Because, this could go a number of ways.
Yeah.
the big question is, can they break up the power duo?
100%. And by the way, there are 2 duos left in the game still. One of them is just secret.
Yeah.
So sorry to that man, Mitch.
Power duo, one of them's a little duo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mitch has no idea what has really been going on.
Yeah.
Poor thing. I mean, I love that he's still in the game, but he should have made a move by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, next week is the finale. So we will be here same time next Wednesday night, right after the finale.
Yes.
To stream. And on this Monday, I will have Chantel here, and she and I are going to go through the end game astrologically and try to make some predictions that way on Monday. Tomorrow night, we are here for the Amazing Race finale.
Join us.
That's happening. Part 1 is tonight. Part 2 is tomorrow night. So we will recap both of those tomorrow.
Yep.
I will have Shaheen here with me tomorrow morning. Do you guys want to throw out some questions? What do you want me to ask him?
Yeah, ask him about his leg routine.
I would like to know how those legs worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Was he really going after Joe/Eva, or was this to set up Kyle?
Is he the reason that we got the chicken and waffles song? Because he's just been singing all season and he got in Jeff's head? Yeah. Important questions to ask.
Very important.
Yeah.
All right, you guys in the chat, thank you so much for being here tonight with us.
Yes,
appreciate it.
Thank you for those of you who are complimenting my hair today. I appreciate
seriously.
that. Lots of love.
Lots of love.
And for those of you joining us later, let us know how you feel about Shaheen going home. What do you think of this final 5 makeup? Which of the duos can make it to the final 3? And all of the thoughts, I guess, on predictions for the winner, because the next time we come here, we're going to have a winner.
Right. So tell us all of your predictions. Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a lovely night.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.